no change initiative involving rabbis in congregations, or any setting for that matter, as far as I'm concerned, can happen without a high degree of self-awareness on the part of the rabbi. And the organization and the rabbinic training program, the Continuing Rabbinic Educational program that goes directly to that, is the work of the Institute for Jewish Spirituality. A number of people in this room have been touched by that. It has to begin with the rabbi having a sense of his or her authentic self, of being in touch with, building on what Amichai was talking about, building on a connection to the rabbi's own heart-centered Judaism, and being aware of the discrepancy between the context in which rabbis are working and their own personal spiritual striving and aspirations, and to help see their work as helping to create Jewish spiritual community that is compatible with their own spiritual journey and growth. Completely outside the context, I think, of programmatic change, organizational change, structural change in synagogues, it really has to begin with the individual experience of the rabbi, who understands what it means to change him or herself, and then can understand a little bit better about what it means to do that with other people. Because really, what hope is there to do that in a communal setting, unless you have a sense about what that change is like on a personal level? So I would begin with that. Then, in terms of my experience at Legacy Heritage with the Innovation Project, this may overlap with a couple of things that you said, John, but I want to underscore a few of them, because I read many proposals for grants from synagogues that wanted to undergo changes. And we structured the RFP for those proposals to maximize some of the factors that John talked about buy-in from teachers, from parents, from the stakeholders involved. And I would say probably 50% of the proposals that were submitted, and we're talking about hundreds, had a significant to almost an exclusive degree of rabbinic involvement in their formulation and submission. And then another, maybe half, had minimal rabbinic involvement or participation. Of the ones that were selected, obviously, very few that had minimal to no rabbinic involvement were identified as selected, because the reality was that without that rabbinic involvement, the chances of that change proposal being successful was fairly minimal. The most successful proposals and the most successful initiatives had the kind of blend of rabbinic, lay, and staff involvement that John spoke about. That is, rabbis were involved, but whether in kind of the nuts and bolts and the nitty-gritty of the change initiatives, as well as in helping to create and craft a vision in partnership. And this is another factor I guess you didn't mention, John. It has to do with rabbinic partnership with educators, with cantors, with other staff. And that has to do with an understanding, and seems soon on the behalf of rabbis, of seeing themselves as partners with other staff members as well as with lay leadership. The most successful initiatives involve rabbis who are able to partner with other staff members and to work effectively to create and organize lay involvement in the initiative that would create the possibility for those initiatives being self-sustaining, which is ultimately the real test of the change initiative. So we would have, on the one hand, sometimes initiatives which were sparked by lay people or by an educator or by a staff member, and those were comments that often would flame out very quickly without rabbinic involvement. On the other hand, we also had initiatives which were spearheaded by rabbis, which were rabbi-centric, which also faded out pretty quickly because the rabbis didn't have the skills or willingness to engage partners with that process. So the art of organizing, the art of being able to understand what it means to build relationships with the staff and with lay people are essential. And whether that is, I'd like to think that is a teachable skill. And one of the questions for the panel, I know, and for the group in general, is what are the resources that are available for rabbis to learn these kinds of skills, or to at least build on the skills that they may innately have. I wish there were more of them, but I don't think there are a lot. There are not many.